Welcome back, everybody. My name is Jax, and today we are talking about love. I am not currently in love. There are people in my life that I love, but I'm not like romantically attached to anybody at the moment. But I thought we would just have a good old conversation, a good old heart to heart about what love is, dating strategies, just a bunch of stuff like that, essentially. Because I feel like some people need it. And yeah, that's where we're gonna leave that. So, where do we begin? I think we're gonna start with sort of dating and that kind of thing. Everyone online is obsessed with dating culture, how long to date before this, what to do here, what not to say on a first date. We are absolutely obsessed with the idea of finding love and connection. And I think it's very sweet that humans are so obsessed with it, especially in our generation and our era of humanity and technology. But we are definitely too obsessed with it. We are too obsessed with the idea of finding the one, with getting nailed down, getting your ball and chain, getting into a relationship. Cuffing season is upon us. If you've never heard of cuffing season, that's when you get into relationships. You are cuffed, as that goes. Usually this is for like Thanksgiving and Christmas, like the whole season of events and parties and things like that. Halloween, I guess, is one of them. But we are definitely obsessed with the idea of relationships, being a couple, finding the one, and all of this kind of stuff. And part of me doesn't quite understand what's the rush. Obviously, like, I get that many people want to be in a relationship and they aren't happy and all these things, and they think that somehow a relationship is going to fix that. It's not. I hate to break it to you. I really do believe there are a lot of sayings and a lot of quotes that I don't like just because they sound good. People share them and believe them. However, some of them are just not right. And however, one of the ones I think is right is you will not be happy in a relationship until you are happy single. I truly believe that. I think anybody who is thinking that a relationship will solve their problems, if they just get married, if they just find the right person, life will just click into place. That is not a reality. The reality is, until you are a happy, independent human being with your own life, your own independence, good family and friends, you're working on your health, you're working on your lifetime financial goals, your career, your passions. Until you do all of that, you truly won't be ready for a relationship. And that's just kind of a fact. I mean, you can try and debate that, but good luck with that one. You're going to have a very difficult debate ahead of you if you're trying to refute that. So yeah. Now, dating in this world is hard. We know this. We understand that with the dating apps, meeting people in public, like at a bar, at a library, wherever, it's hard. And even if you do meet somebody, they are often occupied with other pursuits. They might be moving, they might have school, they might be, trying to figure out a difficult relationship with a past partner. There's all kinds of things that make our culture particularly hard to find somebody to be monogamous with, because I feel like that is still the large goal of most people. There's a growing community of people who want to be in open relationships, who do not want to be sort of tied just to one person. And like that's absolutely fine. That's, as long as you're a consenting person, then nobody should have any problem with that. It's not what I look for personally, but I'm not here to judge anybody. I mean, I'm as difficult to be around as anyone else. So, there are many things that make the whole monogamous relationship difficult, we can look back in history and look back into our own families and see how past relationships have worked. My four grandparents were married for 60 plus years. Two of them are still married and doing great today. But when I talk to them about how they met and their dating culture and those kinds of things, it is very different than today's world. Usually back then, I think you would meet through friends of friends, or work colleagues, or you just see each other, and that's it. Then there's sort of a commitment, and there wasn't this kind of like dating around or seeing other people. You got hitched, you had kids, and you moved on, and you stayed together until one of you popped your clock. Which kind of sounds sweet, honestly. Like, I look at my grandparents, and the fact that they have had a true partner in life their whole life is pretty amazing, and they went through hardships and all kinds of stuff. Today, we are much more likely to jump ship. We're much more likely to end a bad relationship when things are difficult, rather than work through it, because it has never been easier to get a divorce. It's never been easier to move on or find somebody new. It has never been easier to cheat. It has never been easier to be in infidelity. I'm blanking on the word. It's never been easier to cheat, is basically what I'm saying. And so that makes it difficult. So dating, hard, difficult thing. But let's say, hypothetically, you manage to find somebody. Amazing, congratulations. So you start going on some dates and you get to know the person. Hopefully you're not putting the cart before the horse. You're not overthinking. You're not living in some imaginary world, and you're not fantasizing about them and putting them on this pedestal and making them greater than they are, because that is a great way to end a relationship quickly, is to overthink and to imagine that this person is going to solve all your problems and protect you and be with you and marry you and everything. That is not the way for a long-term relationship. So hopefully you manage to avoid doing that. Hopefully the other person in this relationship also manages to not do that and just enjoy it, live in the moment, see if you two are long-term compatible. And then after a certain amount of dates, you decide to get a little more exclusive, decide to be boyfriend, girlfriend, 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 boyfriend, boyfriend, whatever, partners in crime. And, it's then the slow process of integrating each other's lives into one another, and to sort of becoming intertwined in many regards, which is a really beautiful idea. And, there is something very sweet to be said about love and deciding to take on the world together, and combining your wardrobe and putting it all together, and living in the same house and going to the same places and coming home and watching the same shows and eating the same meals together. It is pretty lovely that that's how human love works, and we sort of combine our lives, and it becomes kind of magical. And there are lots of challenges with that, but in many ways love is this very beautiful thing. And then again, in our society, we are very quick to move towards that. We're very, very quick to jump into that kind of connection and have a lot to deal with in a short amount of time. You meet each other's families and friends, and suddenly it's all chaos. And what do? It's just like, oh gosh. But on the whole, it can be quite a beautiful sort of thing to happen, I guess, is what I'm trying to get at. I've also been thinking about how love can be a bit tragic, and how basically we are stuck thinking about the eventual end, because at some point it does end, unfortunately, or at least depending on what you believe in, it ends, but it ends on this planet. And so I don't know, I've just been thinking about that, and sort of the tragedy of love being, typically someone goes first, and then, you're left kind of alone, and that's really sad. But I guess you can live in your memories and you know, if you have a faith, you can feel as though you're being reunited with them, and it's a much nicer thing. So I don't know, but that's love. And I think anybody who is even mildly like romantic or having those kinds of aspirations really does spend a lot of time thinking about this kind of stuff and thinking about relationships and compatibility and, you know, dating and all this stuff. Like we are a culture that has become very focused on this kind of thing, and perhaps maybe we're too focused and we're missing some of the just joys of doing each of these things. I always tell my friends, like, just enjoy your first date. You know, going on a first date should be a fun experience. It should be enjoyable. There really shouldn't be a lot of pressure. You should just be yourself. I know a million people will tell you to be yourself, but you really should, because you don't want to put up a facade and then have to maintain that your entire relationship. It doesn't work. It's not a good thing to do. So be yourself, enjoy it, live in the moment, and hopefully you get to connect with interesting people who live equally interesting lives, just like you do. I don't really know what this video was inspired by, or really even the subject of it, but I don't know, maybe it's just a little speech about love and my random thoughts about love. So thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think. Good luck finding love if that is what you were looking for. And as always, I will talk to you guys tomorrow.